I can't believe he
God,
put that in his profile.
what
I
a wackadoodle.
Can I say
Wackadoodle Wednesday today on the podcast. Welcome back to the Bits of Brie podcast. I'm Brianna here with my co-host Ashley. We're back from a little bit of a break. We had a lot going on. We'll fill you in on a little bit of it. But Ashley, I'm so happy that we're back today. I've missed the podcast.
Me too. It feels like it's been so long. I'm so excited to be back, and I'm
We have
loving your headphones.
oh, thank you. I know. I put these on today to
Love
see if,
'em.
they make a little difference. And
Love it.
I feel official with them on.
Official.
Yeah, we took, I think, a 2-week hiatus just because May is the new December, especially for moms with kids in school.
Yep.
I feel like it's nuts. All of the end of year activities, Mother's Day. I mean, I also just clearly didn't plan my children's birthdays because I have an April and May baby. So
Mhm.
I feel like it's just been nuts.
Yeah, you've been super busy, but
Yeah.
both parties were incredible. I love them.
Oh, thank
You did
you.
such a good job.
Thank you. I know. The Mean Girls party that was not planned, it originally was just gonna be pink and flowery for spring for my little Mayflower, and
Mhm.
she I think like every girl does, we all have that experience of when you get picked on by somebody, and that happened to her recently, and
Yeah.
she had been asking me for a long time, "Mom, can we watch Mean Girls?" And I just figured, we wouldn't really watch that until she got a little bit older,
Mhm.
but was talking to some friends about it, and just the message at the end is actually, I think, what the most beautiful takeaway from that movie is. So,
Mhm.
watched it with her, had the debrief at the end, and she kinda, like, took away from it about, yeah, like, we have to be kind to everybody, and we should just be friends with people who are being kind to us and who are supportive to us, and I was like, "That is exactly it." Like, we do that to other people, and that's how our friends should be, treating us
Mhm.
too. But when we were looking online for some decor, I don't know why. I think maybe because I was typing in pink and it was like on Wednesdays we wear pink or like something
Mhm.
came up with it where I was like, wait, there's Mean Girl decorations. And so I went down the Amazon rabbit hole
Yeah,
and I
because I
was
had
like,
no idea.
I didn't either. I'd never even thought of it as a party theme.
Right. It's
And so
genius.
so I said to her and she was like, "Yeah, could everybody coming to the party wear pink?" And I was like, "Okay." The flood of ideas came flowing and on birthdays we wear pink.
Yep.
And what else did I put on the invitation? It was like a so fetch sleepover and get in losers, we're going roller skating. And I
Yep.
was taking every pun from the movie and
Love
definitely, I
it.
said to the girls, "You wanna go to Taco Bell?" So we all got Taco Bell to eat before the
Yep.
sleepover, so it was very fun and no mean girl behavior allowed, just very sweet girls, but a very good party. I'm tired, though.
Oh,
It's a lot.
yeah. And to have all those girls entertaining them, staying up because they're not going to bed early. They wanna hang out and chat and do stuff. So, yeah, that would be really tiring. How many girls did you have total?
So, including Presley, it was just 4 of them, which is kind of
Okay.
funny too, considering that the movie has the 4 girls, like, it was
Yes.
very funny.
Perfect. Very
Um
fitting.
Yeah, but that's what she said, like, when we talked about her party, I was like, "Oh, do you wanna invite everyone from your class?" And she was like, "No, I just want my, like, 3 best friends and go roller skating and have them all sleep over." So,
I
yeah,
love
it was
it.
nice, yeah, and I had fun
Yeah.
decorating and clean it all up the next day, though, typical. I always like everything reset. Are you that way?
No. No.
No, when a party's
But
over, you're like, "I leave it up?"
I usually need to rest the next day, but then I could go up. But no, a lot of times Steven or the kids will ask, like, "Can you leave it up? I love the decorations." They'll ask. Even I think like
Oh,
my 40th birthday balloons, I kept those up until there was like no helium in it. Like I just
yeah.
loved it in my room.
Well, I mean, you did have your Christmas tree up until what, like, March?
Girl,
I'm
that's where
joking,
we're
I'm
opposite.
joking.
It's so true. But can I say that I don't know where it comes from because my mom is like one of those right after Christmas, a tree's got to come down. I
See,
think it's my husband
I'm
and
usually that way.
kids. Yeah, it's my husband and
Yeah.
kids. They always are like, "Can you leave it up? It's so pretty, mom." I'm like, "Sure, why
Aw.
not? Less work for me." But then it does feel like it's a lot of work later because then you're doing it at the end of the season or a new holiday is starting to arrive and you still have old decor up. So I probably should be more like you and my mom and take it down immediately. We'll
I mean,
try it.
it's just the mood, but, like, let us know in the comments. What are you? Do you like to take the Christmas tree down right after Christmas? Do you leave it up a few months like Ashley? Or I mean, you did
Yeah.
that for work technically, but
Yeah.
I'm teasing you since we had a couple trolls
Oh,
like
yeah,
to tease
no.
Ashley about that. But that's one of the things we wanted to talk about today though is
Trolls.
the trolls have said some funny things. I can't even necessarily say it's a troll. It was more that like on the dating app, there was a crazy troll. I don't what should we call him?
I don't know, but it made me so mad. You have to share this story. Tell us everything that happened. Don't leave anything out, cause I was shocked. I immediately went over to Steven like, "You're never gonna believe what just happened."
Oh, Don. Dating
Don.
app Don. And we're gonna use his name. But okay, so Don,
Good old
I,
Don.
you know, logged on and I mean this is a couple weeks ago now, right?
Mhm. Yep.
Logged on, saw it was like, oh, blah 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 commented on your picture. And so I go to see like, okay, like what they say. Don left this comment, which I'm going to put on the screen so you can see Don, his picture, and the comment he left for me, which, if you're listening on Spotify or Apple, Don left a comment on my picture that said, little overweight.
So this is her picture up here. He literally said little overweight, and then there's his picture. Yeah.
Can we see like his full face?
Yes, we can. Of course we can.
Okay, so there's Don. Liking to tell the ladies on the dating apps
Overweight. Like,
they're a
how
little
dare he?
overweight.
I could not believe it. I like at first, I like had to check that again because I'm like, did I really just read that right? Like, how dare he?
He
Me.
couldn't be joking, right? Like, let's, like, look at the rest of his thing. He's a 40-year-old man.
Yeah.
If you haven't learned by 40 years old that it's not a joke to comment on women's bodies.
Nope. And it's so funny too, because it's never the really good looking guys. I know, not that I'm attacking Don, I'm just saying, like, you'll see, like the fitness influencers, the like gym bros, and you would think they would be the ones saying like a little overweight because they keep what, like a 3% body fat. But no, it's like the average man commenting on a woman's body when he's got no man does, but really has no business doing that.
I mean, my real question is what should I reply to Don? Do I ignore him? Do I say something back? Like, what would you do in this situation, ladies? What do you say to Don when he says you're a
Yeah.
little overweight?
Yeah, like, what do you say? Because at that point, like, he's a troll, right? Like, he's just trying to get a reaction out of you, and you're not supposed to engage with trolls. But how could this man, like, this is the picture he chose, really think that he can sit there and talk about? I was just so shocked.
What
But
does the
Steve,
rest of his like, what are his ambitions? What does it say right
okay,
there?
so it said Christian. You
So,
should,
like, not a very Christian-like thing to say, could be one response.
right. Long term relationship, but open to short.
At 40
Monog-
years old,
at 40,
open to short. Okay. Okay, alright.
monogamy.
Okay.
A life goal of mine, build a cabin on the water. Hope you're not overweight while you're living on that cabin, Bree, because clearly he might not be okay with that.
Sink in the water.
Right. And this one was my favorite.
Okay.
I'll brag to you, or I'll brag about you to my friends if you leave notes in my lunchbox. The fact that he's assuming you're going to be making his lunch. So, ladies, not only are you going to be overweight for Don, but you will be making his food and he might not even want a long term relationship. So, you will be packing his lunches. He's not going to commit to you and you're probably overweight. Like, this is what we have to choose from in 2025.
I mean, this is literally why I watched a psychiatrist, I believe it was video reel TikTok about how dating is actually a trauma.
See? Because they're insulting you and they don't
It's
even know
a form
you.
of trauma. It
It
really is.
is.
So, to my ladies out there who are married and, maybe you're just wondering if the grass is a little greener on the other side. Really, really think long and hard. Maybe like hug your husband. a little extra harder today. I mean, I get that there's toxic relationships, and I hope that you're able to, if you are in one, move on to a healthier place. But for those of you who are just a little bit like, I'm a little bored. I wonder if the grass is greener. It is
Yeah,
not.
it's not.
No, it is not.
Like, that man leaving the toilet seat up is not that big of a deal. Like, at least he's not expecting you to make his lunches while he's calling you overweight. I can't believe he
God.
put that in his profile.
What
I
a wackadoodle.
You know
Wha
what, though? Can I say
Wackadoodle Wednesday today on the podcast.
Wackadoodle
Wackadoodle
Wednesday?
Wednesday.
But can I tell you, I appreciate men who are that open with how toxic they are because that tells us
I
everything we
mean,
need to know about you. Like, thank you, sir. Thank you
thank
for
God
putting
we
that
know.
out there. So
Yes,
I did
thank
not
God.
waste my time. And
Ugh.
now, because we're girls, we are going to make sure everybody knows not to go out with Don. Hope this gets back to him because he needs to change. No, maybe he shouldn't change his ways. Keep his ways just the way they are so women can really know what they're getting themselves into.
Ugh. I mean, I haven't posted it yet on the Are We Dating the Same Guy, but that's probably something I should do.
Yes. Yes.
Gross.
Save the
Yeah.
other women, Brie. I really genuinely want to know what people think about this. Like, are we overreacting or is this just, which I really don't feel like we are. Like the fact that he called you overweight, how dare he? How
So
dare
rude.
he?
So rude.
So
Yeah.
rude. But
Yeah. I
Steven
just wanna know what
Casper.
people would respond. Like, I really wanna know what
Yeah,
people
like
think
do
is appropriate to
you
say.
call him out on it? Do you block him? Like what do you do? Because there's
Well,
a
yeah,
lot
obviously,
you could say
I
about
could
him.
go the route of just ignoring him and, like, not responding, but I'm just wondering, like, if somebody were to respond, what would you
What
say?
would you say?
Yeah,
Yeah,
let us
let
know
us
in the
know.
comments. Okay, I have another funny story for you from the, dating realm.
Okay. Wackadoodle Wednesday.
Wackadoodle Wednesday. Another wackadoodle story from dating in 2025.
Mhm.
Um, so Presley had a soccer game on one of the nights when they're with their dad. So I went to the soccer game. It was rainy. I had on a gray hoodie. My hood was up half the time because of the rain. My hair was in a claw clip. It was messy. It, got rained on. Point is, I'm trying to paint the picture that I was not looking my best on this night. Okay. I
Okay.
was not looking my best. Just very casual, very comfy, very soccer mom. Okay.
Mhm. Mhm.
Rolling out of the rainy soccer field. Well, it was the Tuesday night that was game 5 of the NBA playoffs where the Cavs were playing the Indiana Pacers. I do not have cable and I don't have any of the platforms that have the game.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, I'm, by myself. I was actually going to grab dinner with a friend, but she wasn't able to meet me. But I was like, okay, I'm by myself. I still really wanted the quesadilla that I love from this one
Yep.
restaurant. So I'm like, I'll just go sit at the bar, be able to watch the game, eat my quesadilla, have a good night. So I'm, eating my quesadilla, watching the game. It was a very intense game, very back and forth, very close game.
Okay.
Well, it was towards the end of the game, probably 3 minutes left. And for context, I'm at the bar with two empty seats on each side of me. But all around the rest of the bar is basically groups of men or like just even some men by themselves watching the game as well.
Mhm.
The bartender, I asked her for the check, knowing that the game was wrapping up. And she said, "Oh, a guy over there asked to pay for your quesadilla for you." And I was like, "Oh, tell him thank you. That's very sweet." So I'm just sitting there watching the final minutes of the game. And the guy who paid for my quesadilla comes stumbling over, would be the appropriate word. Stumbling. This man is so drunk, hammered, slurring. He comes up to the empty seat next to me and he's just like, "I just have to tell you, you're one of the most beautiful women I've ever seen." Mind you, I'm in the hoodie, rained on hair, claw clip, like barely any makeup.
Right.
But to this man, I'm the most beautiful woman he's ever seen. And you guys know me, like, you follow me on social media and Instagram, like, I can do it up, like, I can do it up. I
Right.
was the least done up I think I've ever been leaving my house in, like, a year on this night, okay?
Okay.
But I'm just like, "Okay." Didn't say to him, but in my head, I'm like, "How drunk are you?" He proceeds to tell me like, "Yeah, I'm in from Colorado." He's probably like mid-40s. And I'm like, "Oh, that's cool. Like, what are you here for?" And he's like, "My dad died." And I was like immediately like, "Oh my God,
Oh.
I'm so sorry." Because
Well, that
obviously there
explains.
well,
That
right,
explains
why
why he's
he's being
hammered.
yes,
Yeah,
why he's
for
hammered.
sure.
Obviously hits home for me having, like, lost my dad myself, and I just was
Yep.
like, "I'm very sorry, and just thank you so much, for getting me dinner. That was very nice of you." And
Mhm.
he's like, "You're welcome." He walks away, goes back to family, friends, whomever he was with on the other side of the bar. Well,
Okay.
there's still, like, a little over a minute left in the game at this point now, and, at that point, there's a lot of stop and starts because of fouls and all that kinda thing.
Mhm.
Well, all of a sudden, I feel a tap on my other shoulder because I was, like, cheering very into the game, and the man has now come to the other chair that's open next to me, and he's sitting there, and he's like, "You're into the Cavs?" And I was like, "Yeah," like and he's like, "Where are you from?" "I'm from Cleveland." And he's like, "Wait, what are you doing in Colorado?" And I was like, "What?" And he
He
has a
didn't
drink
know
with
where
him
he
this time,
was?
and I go, "How many of these have you had, buddy?" And he's like, "What?" And I was like, "We're not in Colorado." I was like, "You're in Cleveland, Ohio." And he's like, "I am?" And I was like, "Yeah, you just told me a minute ago you're here." And I was like, "Because of your dad?" And he's like, "My dad died, didn't he?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm sorry." Then, oh my god, this is the worst part. This
This
guy,
poor man.
out of nowhere, just the bar stool, he flies backwards, cracks his head on the
Oh
ground, and
my
I'm like
gosh.
and, like, all the other people, who are around are like, "Oh my god." Some of his friends or family members come rushing over, but he bounces up like a bouncy ball. Okay, he's, like,
Yep.
up by the time they're, like, rushing over, and they're like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And he's like, "I'm fine," and just, like, walks away like nothing happened. Literally just traipses away, didn't even know anything happened, okay?
Oh my gosh.
But I was just like, "This man," like, he was literally like, "What you doing in Colorado?"
He
A
didn't
minute
even
after
know.
we had a conversation, he had no idea where he was. No idea.
And thank God he was drinking that much because him hitting his head that hard on the ground,
I mean,
it probably saved him.
he probably had to have felt that really bad the next day, and I did make sure when
Mhm.
the people came over, I was just like, "Hey, he's not driving home, right?" And they were like, "Oh, no, absolutely not." So at least, it seemed like he was there
He
with
was
people
safe.
who were watching out for him and taking care of him, like, poor man lost his dad, but that's being out there in 2025.
Okay, so do you feel like you get approached more? You probably don't go out very often without makeup, right?
No, but it's so funny though, because my one friend, that was advice he actually gave me.
Mhm.
He said and I mean, I think it's, like, coming from, like, a very sweet place. He's like, "Men just do get, like, very intimidated very quickly," and he's like, "I think you should just go out with, like, as little makeup as possible." He's like, "Maybe just mascara, and you'd have
Mhm.
better luck."
Yeah.
Maybe point proven by rolling in
Yes.
soccer mom sweatshirt and claw clip.
Well, I feel like it's really interesting that he gave you that advice because I remember when he did. And I just recently saw this woman. She was talking about how your hair color and your makeup can determine like what type of energy you're in, also like how you are as far as dating. And she was just saying that, like, red hair is very like alluring and very sensual and all of that. And she was saying, and black hair can be very intimidating. It's a power color. It can be hard for men to
Oh.
approach women with black hair, which I always thought was so interesting. And then she said, but blonde hair makes you really sweet and approachable and all of that. And she was also talking about makeup. So she was saying, like light makeup that makes you more approachable. So it's interesting because it's kind of what your friend had recommended to you.
Yeah.
And I feel like probably you having that claw clip up and little makeup, which Lord only knows what that man was really seeing. He probably really thought you were the most beautiful woman he's ever seen. And
I'm
he's
I
like,
mean, he thought he was in Colorado,
he
so
thought he was in Colorado. He was so
I mean
shocked that you love the Cavs living in Colorado. I mean,
ugh.
Poor
I'm
guy.
gonna have to I have actually a selfie because the reason I even ordered the hoodie is
Okay.
I did go out with my friend and she was like, "Oh, I found this like Lululemon dupe on Amazon." So I bought the hoodie and I actually took a picture, just a random selfie only to send to my friend to be like, "Oh, I got the hoodie like at the soccer game." So I have photo evidence what I looked like when all of this went down, when I got my dinner paid for me. So maybe there is something to it because again, when I've gone out dressed to the nines, I haven't gotten my dinner paid for me. So
Yeah, I almost wonder if it's more intimidating, like what that one lady was talking about, like the makeup and the all that is more intimidating. I don't know. I
mm,
also feel like it probably just depends on the type of guy. I feel like Don probably wouldn't have the confidence to approach anybody because he's too busy insulting people, which clearly shows that he has low self-esteem if he's just attacking other people's bodies. So I would think a man like Don probably not, but this guy, he was just having a hard time, but he did see a beautiful woman, and how
that's
sweet that he
really
paid for your
sweet.
food.
I feel like there's like a lot of thoughts I have around this is one, there are really nice people out there because when you are at the lowest of lows, think about that. He just lost his dad. Like he could be angry, he could be sad, and he still wanted to do something that was very nice and kind
For
and
someone else.
gentlemanly.
Yeah.
And so, like, so sweet. But just because if everybody asks, like, he did ask me for my number, and I actually told him no since he lives in Colorado, and I'm like, "I'm here with 3 children. Again, thank you very much." The other piece that I was thinking of in this whole story is, like, we're talking about it, and I'm like, is it actually dimming your light, though? Is it, like, kind of adverse to that advice of you should never dim your excuse me, you should never dim your light because you
Mm,
should always just be being yourself,
mhm.
and you'll attract the right people to you.
Yeah, I'm curious to hear what other people think about that because I do. I feel like that's dimming your light for sure. If you love makeup and you love having your hair done and you love a certain color, I don't think you should shy away from that. I think that the person you're meant to be with is going to like what you like. So I don't think that you should do that because you're not really the type of woman to go out without makeup on, right?
I think it's more time and place. Like when I'm going to the gym, I'm not going with a full face of
For
makeup. Like
sure.
I'm going with
For
just
sure.
like my tinted moisturizer on.
Yep.
But and I think it's by, timing. Because like the time that my friend gave me that advice, we actually went to brunch. And
Mhm.
so I did. I just had my tinted moisturizer on. I had on, I think I did. I just put on mascara
Mhm.
because I was going to be going to the gym afterwards. And that's what he said to me. He goes, "Do you go out like this often?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" And he's like, "Well, I think, like, if you just look like this, where, like, you just have the mascara on, so many more people, like, would approach you." So I was
Mhm.
basically like, "Okay." Like, I don't know, because that's advice from a guy, right? Like,
Mhm.
guess they would know, but
Men don't really know how much makeup women are wearing, and we proved this when I worked at the salon. So we would have male massage therapists, and when we were bored, we would literally ask them, "Do you prefer?" Because this is a debate as old as time, right? Women love makeup. And if you're a working woman, as in like you leave the house and you go to a job, you're probably going to have makeup on every day because you're going to work, right? So you may
Mhm,
go to the gym with full makeup on because you literally just left work and then you go straight to the gym. So
mhm,
we were talking to the men and we were saying, "Do you guys like full glam?" And they always say, this is what all men say is we don't like a lot of makeup. And we're like, "Okay, great." Now, mind you, all of us girls who were talking to them about this, we were both hairstylists and makeup artists. So we would
mhm.
start showing them pictures. "Well, what do you think about this girl?" And he's like, "Oh, that's perfect. She doesn't have any makeup on." Bree, she had full glam. She had full glam. I'm
It was
talking
just, like, naturally done,
yes!
glam. Yeah,
Concealer, foundation, lashes, everything, but it was done in
yeah,
such a way that it just enhanced her natural features, and so I
yeah,
thought it was so funny because men always say they don't like makeup, but what I think that they mean is they don't like heavy makeup that maybe is, like, a different color than, like, your natural skin tones,
yeah.
because
Yeah,
men love makeup.
I
They
was
do.
gonna say, I think yes, I think men will say a woman is more beautiful, like, when her makeup is done in that natural almost the bridal style, right? Where, like, the
Mhm,
bridal makeup, it's like it's soft, it's feminine. I
mhm,
mean, I know maybe some people do an edgier look for their wedding, but I feel like most people, their bridal makeup is that super soft, feminine, plays up all your natural
mhm.
features, just makes you look like the prettiest version of yourself.
No, you're
And
100%
I feel like
correct.
that's what men
Yep.
do gravitate towards, because I can see I don't think there's many men who are like, "Oh, I like the thick, heavy eyeliner and,
Nope.
like, the
Nope.
lashes that go up to your eyebrows," but no,
Nope.
they like a mascara. They're gonna like your eyes when they have that, like, feminine little
Mhm.
flirty, like, lash look.
It's
So,
true. It's
yeah,
true. So
yeah.
that's why they may not even realize what they like.
Mhm.
Okay, Brie, there is this other trend that I'm not sure if you're familiar with, but I've been dying to tell you about. Have
Okay.
you seen, okay, it's on TikTok. I don't know if it's popular on Instagram yet, but it is these psychics that actually draw a picture of what your soulmate looks like. Have you seen this?
No.
You
Oh
haven't?
god, are we gonna end up doing this?
I feel like you need to do it. Okay, so they will literally tell you not just they don't just draw pictures. So here's like one. Let me see if I can pull up an
Okay.
example. Like it is detailed. And now, mind you, we don't know who this one is for. So I'm not saying you would be
Okay.
attracted to this guy, but this is a drawing that she did for one person. As you can see, she got started like with the brow. It's not fully done
Okay.
yet. But
Okay.
then on this side of the paper, it'll tell you like what their sign is, what they do for a living, maybe what vehicle they drive, possible way that you guys could meet, just things like that, eye color, hair color. I just think
Okay.
it's so interesting and I feel like you need to do this. And there's not just one, there's like a ton of them. And it might be a scam, I don't know, but there's been some girls who have said like they ordered one of these drawings and then they met their now fiancé or husband, and that's
And
how
they
I
look
fell
like the
down this.
drawing?
Yeah, and he looked just like the drawing. I wish I could find the one girl. I didn't save her TikTok, but I need to, like, look for it because it looked just like her fiancé. She put a picture of the drawing, and then she put a picture of him, and Brie, it was identical. They even drew, like, the little curly hair, the psychic did.
Okay.
They drew, like, his full beard. They said that he was a truck driver. He wasn't, because that's the part where I was, like, surprised that she was so specific, but no, he wasn't a truck driver, like, for a living. He just drove a Dodge Ram, but, like, it was everything. The sign was the same, the way that they met, like, they totally called everything.
Okay, we're gonna do this and
Right?
report back to the pod, and I
Right?
swear to God, if the drawing is done, I'm staying single for the rest of my life.
It's not allowed to be done. I will literally message your person, like, if it is done, do not send it. Give us a different one. Do you feel like if you had one of these drawings done, do you feel like it would help guide you? Like, if you were out and you saw a man that looked just like your soulmate drawing, would you, like, go up to him, or would you put yourself in
Hmm.
his path? Or do you feel like it's just something you would keep in the back of your mind and let the universe and God do its thing, and if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. Like, how would you use this information for
I
yourself?
mean, I do think it would be really weird if you were on a dating app and you, like, see somebody who looks just like the drawing, because then I obviously, that would influence me. I would be like, "Yeah, I just need to match with him to be like, well, it looks just like the drawing."
Mhm.
Or, yeah, if you were at a bar and somebody came up to you and you're like, "Oh my god, he looks just like the drawing." That would be
Wouldn't that be
wild.
wild?
But I've already had something crazy like that happen. I've told you this,
You
right?
wait, what? Tell me.
So, it was over a year ago now. It was, like, last March, and my friend had a we did manifestation boards, and she had a psychic do a reading for each of us.
Okay.
And so, again, this was in March, and my manifestation board, I made a reel about this. I put a thing of flowers, and I found,
Oh,
like, a
yeah.
little picture. It was, like, a guy playing the guitar, and
Mhm.
it was really wild because then over the summer, I met a guy who it looked just like he had a picture that looked just like the guy playing the guitar,
I
and
remember this now.
yeah, and the
Yes.
flowers that he brought me were identical to the ones I put on the board, like, before our first real date, like, our, like, official date.
Mhm.
Um, and then the psychic told me that this summer you're going to meet somebody. She didn't say, like, the word soulmate. I'm, like, trying to think back. I have it on a recording, actually, like, re-recorded it. But she said, "You're gonna meet a man, he's tall, with blue eyes, he's gonna drive a white truck, You're meeting him at a park by the water." And she said that we would be in a relationship by October if, and I'm forgetting like what the if was. It was like a something. Well, it was very strange because all of that happened at the party in March. So I kind of like put it out of my mind, like whatever.
Okay.
Well, then over the summer, right around the same time, it was like 2 weeks before I met the guitar guy, call him Zaddy, call her Zaddy. Canada
Mhm.
is the one who's tall, blue
Mhm.
eyes, and he asked me our first date was at Cedar Point. It was a park by the water, and he showed up driving a white truck.
Wait, you okay. Wait, back it up because I remember we've
Yeah.
talked about this, and you guys, she is not kidding when I say her manifestation board and Zaddy, it aligned completely. Like, you guys, it was actually like I got goosebumps when she showed me the flowers, the photo with the guitar, so many things. But wait, I
Mhm.
think I missed the part where you said the psychic told you, and then this is what Canada did.
It
The
was literally
Canada boy.
Canada. Mhm,
So does that mean
mhm.
that's your, like, person? Or
I
is
don't
it the other
I
one?
I mean, she just basically was saying because I think, like, you could ask her questions, and I was
Okay.
like, because I was single at the time, and so I said to her, I was like, "Oh, like, is anybody, like, gonna come into the picture that, like, I'm gonna be dating, or, like, do you see any relationships on the horizon?" And that's what she said was like, "You're gonna meet a tall man, blue eyes, white truck at a park by the water," and yeah, that
I
was
always
Canada.
liked Canada boys, so, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, but I still feel like Zaddy is the one. That's the one. But anyways, we're not gonna get into all of that. Can you contact this psychic again and try to get more like, can we get an update? Because that's what I
Do we need to bring one on the podcast? Should we
can
do
we
that?
please? Like,
Yeah.
I know it's not gonna be for everybody, it's kinda niche, like the whole psychic thing, but I feel like I'm so intrigued and interested in it because look at how I mean, you've done vision boards, I've done vision boards, and I love how you
Mhm.
call it manifestation board because I usually call it a vision board, but I feel
Mhm.
like which is similar, right? Same vibe. But,
Yeah,
they always
it's the
come
same
true.
concept, right?
They always come true, like, and it's actually creepy when you write it down and then you revisit it later and it's exactly it, like, the flowers, I remember when you sent me the flowers and that photo, I couldn't
Yeah.
believe it.
Yeah, it's pretty
So we need
wild.
a psychic to really get on here and explain these things to us, and we need a psychic to tell us, like, can somebody on TikTok draw your soulmates? Like, is this really a thing? Because people are providing these services. Now, because
People
we
are
do
gonna be like, "You guys are calling it Wackadoodle Wednesday, you're the woo-woo wackadoodles."
they are, they are. And I do know that,
We'll
like, the
own it,
way
we'll own it.
we will because it's like, if you're really gonna meet your person this way, it's better than meeting Don on the internet who's telling you that you're overweight. I'd rather at least meet some psychic on TikTok who's not gonna have me around some man who's giving me, low self-esteem and expecting me to make his lunches, but he doesn't even wanna commit.
Make me a sandwich. I cannot.
I can't either.
Oh
I
god,
cannot. I gotta tell
I cannot.
Steven that part of it too, because Steven had so many theories about that guy. Because when I showed it to him, I said, "Steven," I said, "if he's calling Bree overweight, I am severely obese. Steven, I could never be single. It is rough out here dating in 2025." And he said, "No, he's not." He
It's
said, "This is
trauma.
what that
It's
means
trauma is
too."
what it is.
He said it was actually he saw you and saw how beautiful you are and how perfect you were, and he's like, "I need to knock her off of her pedestal." And that was what Steven said. He goes, he literally saw you and was like, sees that you're beautiful. He said probably used to men, hitting you up on the dating apps and all that, and he felt it was like his job to, like, be the person and do something toxic. He said some men are really that, like, gross. And I said, "Really?" He said, "Oh, yeah." He says, "It's a tactic people have been using forever." I said, "Wow, that's dark. That's dark."
Well, and if our response doesn't show men, like, how repulsed we are by
Oh,
it,
yeah.
like, and you continue to do that at 40 years old,
At 40. It
like, we're
sounded like
not
he's
5 years
20.
old on a playground, you
Yeah.
know? Alright, I mean, I think we gave a lot of wackadoodle Wednesdays out here between our, psychic drawings, psychic
Mhm.
stories. Our nice friend Don, our other
Mhm.
friend from Colorado. He's not I wanna make it clear, I don't think he's a wackadoodle, I think he was going through a very hard time.
No, he was sweet. It's funny because when you
Mm.
told me that story, the first thing I said to you was he cute?" And then I'm like, "Wait a minute, why am I asking that? He lives in Colorado. You can't date someone
I
who lives in
know.
Colorado." But wasn't
No,
that the first thing I said to you? Because I thought it was so sweet that even though he was having a hard time, he bought you dinner.
I know, that was really, really nice.
It was really
I had the
sweet.
same thoughts too. I was like, "That's
Yeah.
really nice of you to do something nice when you're having such a hard time."
So
So,
we like him, to be clear, we liked him. He was a sweet guy.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, we wish him good vibes.
we do.
Done. Not really.
Really. I hope your mayo gets hot in the sun, and I hope it gives
Oh,
you the bubble
Don's
butt,
gonna have to keep
John.
making his own sandwiches is what Don's gonna be doing over there. Good luck.
Explains why he's single, now we know.
I just more wanna know what everybody would say to Don. That's, like, really what I'm
Mhm.
curious about, so don't forget to let us know down in the comments, and
Yeah, 'cause you haven't responded yet, right?
no.
Yeah,
I don't know if I will, I just genuinely wanna know what other people would say to him,
same.
so
And have they experienced that? Like, has
yeah, if
anybody
anybody
else?
else, yeah, has experienced, I guess, what you're Steven's saying of somebody trying to knock you off your pedestal and dim your light. Yeah.
Which is so weird to me, like, that men do that. I wonder, I do women do that? Because I don't feel like we do. I feel like we see a hot guy and we gravitate towards that, right?
Right, like, I feel like we don't knock men down, even though I will say I can see that is how men a lot of times joke with each other. I
Oh,
don't really like it, but I
yeah.
do feel like men have
Yeah.
banter like that with each other,
I think you're
but
right.
yeah.
Mm. Mm, mm, mm.
Oh, well, alright, I know Ashley and I are so happy to be back podcasting, so we will see you again on Wednesdays. We just needed a little break with a lot of things going on, so we will see you next Wednesday, but hope you enjoyed today's episode.
Bye.
Hi, loves.